Well, hello and welcome. This is Ken Smith. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it's my pleasure to share some information with you about LegalShield and give you the background of our company, our service, and our mission. Before I do get started, though, what I'd like to do is share with you a brief 3-minute video presentation, and I'll be back to share more details.
Every generation is born with a dream, with the notion of equality, with the freedom to make certain choices, to exercise certain rights, the right to life, the right to liberty, the right to pursue happiness. But it wasn't until Harlan Stonecipher was blindsided by a motor vehicle and hospitalized in 1969 that he realized it was money, not rights, that gained you access to our legal system. And after depleting his life savings, defending himself against something he didn't do, Harlan Stonecipher was determined to make legal protection accessible to everyone, everywhere, no matter how traumatic or trivial the situation, so that no one would ever be blindsided again. And that's exactly what he did. It was the early 90s when an idea to create a proprietary network truly changed the game. It meant that instead of hundreds of good attorneys serving hundreds of customers, now there was one dedicated law firm serving thousands of members. And instead of attorneys waiting for work to get paid, they were prepaid. The business model for legal products was turned on its head, and a whole new scope and level of service was born. What had been a good product became a great product. And now, on-call advice went from being the privilege of the few to the right of the many. That's the product we sell today. How good does it feel to be able to offer that kind of service to your friends, your neighbors, your community? Our product is something to be proud of. It has stood the test of time. 40 years and 20 million times, our lawyers have been there to protect their clients, helping our 4 million users live their lives on their own terms. Our members fear nothing. The protection of our product is total. A shield that watches over them and their loved ones, protecting their rights, their freedom, and their future. Everyone, everywhere, deserves to wake up with peace of mind, feeling protected every day, every night, now and forever, by our new company, LegalShield. Total access, total freedom.
Now, LegalShield is a unique service and a priceless benefit. It actually gives you the ability to talk to a lawyer on any matter without worrying about high hourly costs. And for one flat monthly fee, you can access legal advice no matter how traumatic or how trivial the issue. So that's why under the protection of LegalShield, you and your family can live your life worry-free every day, every night, now and forever. Now, have you ever signed a contract or a document that you didn't fully understand or that you hadn't had reviewed by a lawyer? Have you been overcharged or treated unfairly, or maybe received a traffic ticket? Have you known a victim of identity theft, or maybe just been in a situation where you thought the advice of a lawyer might be useful? These are just a few examples of the many reasons why it would be to your advantage to have a LegalShield membership. Now, we process over 2 million requests annually here in the North American marketplace. And here's the thing, is that it's just so costly to access the system. As a matter of fact, Madam Justice Beverly McLaughlin, the Supreme Court Justice for Canada, has been quoted on several occasions recently as saying that the average hourly cost of a lawyer in Canada is $338 an hour. As a result of that, people try to represent themselves, they go to court, they walk away empty-handed, and this is one of the biggest things that we can address with the LegalShield membership. Here's an example of some of the categories that people use most often, and there's many more, of course, but real estate, for example, purchase, refinance, foreclosure, landlord-tenant issues, consumer finance. This is another way that people can get their needs met using our membership about collections, warranties, guarantees, and other contracts. Family law. Unfortunately, more than half of marriages end up in divorce or separation in our country. And so divorce, child support, and child custody issues come up. Once again, we can help with that. Estate planning, a continuing power of attorney for property and power of attorney for personal care. These are all things that, unfortunately, 7 out of 10 Canadians do not have in place. Or traffic issues, moving violations, accidents, that sort of thing. So in fact, we give professional advice on all matters from the trivial to the traumatic, including pre-existing conditions. So how can we help you when you call? A lot of times people will say, well, I don't use lawyers that often, or I've never used lawyers. How could I benefit? Let's just give you a handful of examples of how you can benefit from having a LegalShield membership. And if you were my lawyer, what would you charge me for what I'm about to list? Just try and figure it out in your mind. I mentioned that Madam Justice Beverly McLaughlin gave an average of $338 an hour. Just do some math at $100 an hour. I think you'll be shocked at the value that we offer. So number one, legal advice on an unlimited number of issues. So you can pick up the phone, call your law firm, find out exactly where you stand on an issue and not get an additional charge for that. How about letters or phone calls made on your behalf? So if you have an issue where the law firm determines the best course of action is to call somebody or send them a letter, they'll do that and you don't get an extra bill for that. Contracts and documents reviewed up to 10 pages. So next time you're about to sign something, say to the person, hey, listen, this sounds pretty great to me. I just want to run it by my legal team and see if my best interest is being observed. And when you do that, you can sleep better at night and know that you've done something that's in your best interest. Also, the lawyers will prepare your will, your power of attorney for personal care, and your power of attorney for property for you and your spouse or life partner as a member. It doesn't stop there, though. There's also 24/7 emergency access. So if you're ever detained, arrested, taken into custody, dealing with child and family services, maybe identity theft or mistaken identity, some issue comes up like that outside of normal business hours, you can pick up the phone, call a toll-free number, and get somebody on the line to represent you right away. A 25 to 33% preferred member discount on things like criminal charges or starting a business, adopting a child, separation, divorce, child custody, things like that, that whether you like it or not, you're going to have to use the system, so why not get a substantial discount? And then maybe you want to find some online legal forms. The law firm may be able to direct you to a place on the internet where you could get kind of a boilerplate form. You can fill in what you think is the appropriate information on that, and then you can go back to that contract and document review feature to actually have that verified by your lawyer. So once again, if you were my lawyer, what would you charge me for these services? Keep a number in your mind. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you see how affordable our service is. So the next thing is, are you confident that your identity is secure? If you are, unfortunately, you're sadly mistaken because, consumer complaints over the last 11 years, number one has been identity theft. It's just an issue that's out of control, probably not going to get back in control. And we're living in the information age, so your information is everywhere that you've ever submitted it, and people can find that, and you can become a victim of identity theft. So what we do is we work with the number one investigative firm in the world. They're the number one forensic accounting organization in the world. It's called Kroll Background Worldwide, and Kroll does the background checks for Homeland Security in the U.S. They do it for the U.S. military, for the U.S. government. They did the Canadian government sponsorship scandal investigation, did all the security work at the Vatican when the Pope was installed a few years ago. They're just a highly qualified organization, and their most recent addition as a managing partner was Keith Kelly, who was the lead FBI investigator on the Bernie Madoff $50 million Ponzi scheme. So what we do is we help you get an expedited credit disclosure, and then we give you credit disclosure consultation so you can understand what it means and what measures you could take to improve it, and then consultation to help prevent or minimize identity theft. The big thing, though, is the identity theft reparation, because we actually have offices right around the world with Kroll, and they can restore things back to where they originally were by you just signing a limited power of attorney and having them assign one investigator to look after your situation. And that, combined with a legal plan, creates complete coverage, because every expert in identity theft says that you really do need legal representation when you encounter that situation. So as you can see here, we've got a whole suite of major companies. We've got professionals to provide the protection that you deserve. The dedicated provider law firms are there for you, and your membership covers you right across North America, all through the States, all through Canada. So if you have an issue in one of those other areas, we have people on the ground qualified law firms that will represent you. And we provide quality control to the highest standards. These are top-rated firms. They're monitored by the LegalShield home office, and they're prepaid and ready to advise. Also with Kroll, they're the world's leading risk consulting firm. As I mentioned, they deal with Fortune 500 clientele, even governments and government agencies, and they're also prepaid and ready to advise. And then on the right-hand side of your screen here, you can see that this is our home office where we have close to 800 employees that look after our members, our marketing associates, and our law firms. So these professionals are really in a situation where they can provide you blue chip service at a very affordable price point. So this is exceptional value. You know, the price of our membership for everything I mentioned there is just $35.95 a month, and that covers you, your spouse or life partner, any children 21 years or under that haven't been married, still living at home, any children that are 23 years or under that are away at college or university that haven't been married, if they're 18 or under and you're the legal guardian, or if you have any children with physical or mental disabilities, they're all covered under that one plan at $35.95 a month, and then a one-time $10 enrollment fee when you first get started. So how would you like to pay is really the only decision that you have to make, and you have a couple of choices here, either a pre-authorized bank withdrawal, or you can use a Visa or a MasterCard credit card. So just very, very convenient way to make sure that you continue to be protected and have access. So really, you know, our service provides worry-free, every day, every night service for people. And the big question is this, because a huge percentage of our business is based on referral. So who do you know that has children? Who do you know that's had their identity compromised? Do you know anybody who's self-employed or is a business owner, or somebody who needs to prepare or update their will? These are all people that could benefit tremendously by actually knowing about our service. And there's a very small percentage of people in Canada that have even heard of our service, and this presents a tremendous opportunity where you could actually share with people the service itself and get paid handsomely to do that.